So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ravesh. I'm with Pega Systems. And over the next 10-15 minutes, we're going to take you down a little journey of how AI is driving app modernization. So, uh, we'll start with legacy. If you've been in the cloud modernization business, and you've been around for a while, you'll notice that, or at least know that 85% of the workloads have yet to move to the cloud, right? Give or take 80 to 85% of workloads have not moved to the cloud. This is a statistic used by AWS. Now, if you think of why have 85% of workloads not yet moved to the cloud? That's because you've got applications that have been written about 30, 40, 50 years ago, the complex, gnarly applications where either the developers have retired or you've got over 1 million lines of code. You don't understand the dependencies between the application logic and the data. And some of these applications are mission critical. They require a very high level of availability, and there's too much risk, right? So when we think of legacy transformation or legacy modernization, that's the addressable opportunity, that 85%, right? And maybe it's not 85%, but it's the top 10% within that 85%, which are ready for disruption, for AI-driven disruption, and have not moved to the cloud. And if you talk to clients, this is not something that clients have just started to think about, right? We've tried, there are clients who have tried to modernize applications, mainframe applications, COBOL applications, AS400 applications, and in the past these have all been very human-centric, right? Labor-driven, years, months of work to really understand, analyze code, reverse engineer them, understand the data dependencies, understand what the processes are, understand the data. So there's a lot of risk that has been involved, right? And sometimes there are regulatory requirements that are in these applications that we haven't understood. So what gives us the confidence now, that in this world, where everything is AI, what gives us the confidence that we're now ready to go attack these 85% of the applications that have not moved to the cloud? Now, if you just think about what AI is doing today and how AI is actually being applied inside of IT. This is a piece of work that was done by McKinsey last year. They presented this at reInvent last year. And if you just generally understand the SDLC, the overall process SDLC cycle of IT, there's a lot of compression that AI is driving, right? According to McKinsey, they think it's about 50% of compression in the overall IT life cycle. And if you notice over the top, where the biggest compression is happening is right here. It's what's called design and discovery, right? A lot of the AI-driven compression is happening within design and discovery, because we can now start to use AI to really help us understand requirements, look at applications, reverse engineer, reverse analyze applications, develop the forward engineering plans, develop forward engineering test cases, understand and help redefine the business processes from analog processes to more digitally native business processes. And then also discover functionality, right? There's a lot of that compression that's happening, which is where AI is being put used to, right? Some of you may have looked at AWS Transform or some of the other tools. There's a lot of this tooling that's happening on the analysis. Now you would think, Ravesh, if AWS is doing AWS Transform, what is the role of Pega? What is Pega trying to do here, right? So one of the things that we have done, in the broader industry, almost everybody is focused on the analyze problem, right? Analyze the legacy applications, whether it's a COBOL application, whether it's a Lotus Notes application, whether it's a .NET application, whether it's a Java application, right? Most of the tools that are there in the market today are focused on analyze, right? Pega is the only firm that's actually focused on the rewrite problem. So if you look at the overall value chain from a client perspective, right? If you're a large client, an insurance client, a banking client, a healthcare client, and you want to modernize these applications, you've got to focus on analyze, rewrite, integrate, and deploy. Generally, that's sort of the life cycle, right? So where we fit in, where Pega fits in, is we're focused on the rewrite. If you can analyze it, we can rewrite the application for you. And our premise, our philosophy is anchored around three key dimensions of transformation. One, where we are in the business of retiring legacy applications. So which means that we're going to move from old architectures to new cloud-native architectures. So that's the first degree of transformation. The second degree of transformation is we're moving from programming languages to no-code platforms. Why is that important? If you think about how business changes today, right? There are continuous new business requirements, there are regulatory changes, there are process changes, there are supply chain changes. So all of these changes require business process change, right? And you can rewrite an application on a new programming language, but 6 months from now, that'll become legacy because you would already start to accumulate tech debt. It's just the cycle, right? So that is why we firmly believe that, look, part of our transformation value proposition is moving from application languages to no-code platforms, because then anytime there is a business process change, there's a regulatory change, it's a configuration change. It's not about requirements design, requirements design analysis. It's a configuration change. You can simulate the change using AI, and you can change your workflow. So that's the second degree of transformation, which is moving from application languages to no-code platforms. And the third degree of transformation that is also happening is you're moving from analog processes, because a lot of times you have systems that are talking to other systems, orchestrating data, orchestrating the flow of work between your ERP system, your fulfillment system, your order management system. So you've got a lot of orchestration that happens, right? Now think about in the modern agentic world, do you really need that, or can agents start to drive the orchestration between different systems? So you're starting to move from analog processes where a lot of these point-to-point connections were made through all sorts of integration technologies to where now you're using AI to drive the agentic automation across these workflows. Yeah? So what we have done, Pega, is we have built the tooling to facilitate the modernization of these legacy applications. We call that technology blueprint. If you just look right behind you, our booth is right down there, right past right where the AWS section ends here. So you can actually go see our technology and experience it in real time, right? But what we're going to do is in the next 10 minutes, we're actually going to show you the technology in action. And if there is one thing that you take away from this little talk here, it is ABC. Anything to blueprint to cloud. So we're going to show you two examples of two apps. One's a very complex COBOL application, and one is more traditional where you're doing requirements, design, discovery, and you're using those documents, giving that to AI, and AI is going to build the application for you, right? So just remember, anything to blueprint to cloud, yeah? All right, so I'm going to give it to Matt. He's going to walk you through two demonstrations. One, a first application using requirements, and then the second one using AWS Transform, on a COBOL application.
Cool.
Yeah?
All right, thank you, Ravesh. What's up, everybody? Matt Healy. I lead go-to-market for the Pega platform. Just a couple minutes ago, I asked our team if I had any swag I could throw out, and they handed me a bunch of pins. I was like, I can't throw pins at these nice-looking people. I'd end up on the news. So you're welcome for that. But yeah, to Ravesh's point, let's go through a live demo of what this transformation process can actually look like. So bear with me, and if the network goes down, we're all heading that way and talking to the folks who are responsible for this. So if you're not familiar with Pega, it's a workflow automation and AI agent platform, largely leveraged by large enterprises, large government agencies to automate their back office processes their customer service processes, and their customer engagement. Think marketing. So obviously, at a large enterprise who's been in business for 50, 100, 150 years, there's a lot of legacy involved in those areas of the business. So we kept getting requests like, hey, what can you do to help us analyze information that we have available and use that to transform and reimagine those processes into new cloud-native applications on your platform, which allow us to drive the automation, the AI agents, the experiences that we're looking to deliver. So that's where Blueprint comes in. So Blueprint is available to anyone. You can even go try this out after the session, pega.com/blueprint. And essentially, it has a set of AI agents built into here that allow enterprises to bring different types of information from their existing processes, their existing legacy estates, and analyze that to extract the business processes and the data models needed to then bring it to the cloud and start to reimagine it. So let's say, for example, I was working at a government agency, and we hand out grants. We take in applications for grants, and then we disperse funds after they go through an approval and a validation cycle. I might have a legacy system that looks something like this. Maybe it was built on .NET. Maybe this is Lotus Notes. Maybe this is a homegrown, type application. Maybe this is, an off-the-shelf application, whatever it may be. But I want to get off of it. So I might have that video, and I might have some more context available in the form of documentation. So here I have a requirements document sort of describing the different aspects of that process. What types of data, what types of decisions do we need to make throughout the process? So I can take those assets directly without having to, go through any analysis by hand and, go through the analysis the old way and import them into Blueprint. And what Blueprint is going to do is it's going to send the different assets out to each one of those AI agents. For the video processing, it's going to listen to the transcript if there's a walkthrough. It's also going to look at the screens, and it's going to extract AWS, what's up? So it's going to extract, darn it, that's okay. Well, I will go to one that I created just before this, if I even have Wi-Fi to begin with. All right, so bear with me, sorry. We knew this was going to happen. So essentially what Blueprint does is it would have analyzed those assets, extracted the business processes, extracted the data models, and extracted the people involved in the process. And it's going to take that information and build me a template that I can then begin to adapt and turn into a future state application on the cloud. So, from there, I can invite all of my business and IT stakeholders. I can have many different people engaging on this palette and almost treat this like a whiteboard purpose-built for business process transformation. So we can all get in here and be like, all right, this is where we're coming from. Now let's make this look like where we want to be in the future. Let's reimagine our processes. We can dive into the steps of the process and get to some really high level fidelity of the requirements of our future state application. We can do that for all of our workflows. We can model out our data and our integrations. So if we need to connect to any back-end systems, we can model that out in here as well. Even going as far as importing application integration assets or data assets that we have. So if I have a legacy database I want to migrate to the cloud, I can take SQL and import it in here. It will replicate the data structures for the cloud. Or if I have third-party integrations which I need to replicate with my new system, I could take a YAML file, an open API specification, and integrate that in here and have that replicated as well. I can then move on to the people involved with the process. So who do I need to be thinking about in terms of serving experiences and different channels, and dive into each one of their requirements in terms of what they need to be able to do, what security we need to have available for them, what they need to or should be able to see, access, and edit along their journey. And at the end of this blueprint process, this is something teams would spend I don't know, half a day working on, getting their business subject matter experts and their IT teams, collaborating in this environment. And at the end of it, I have a comprehensive requirements document. And that's cool. And this was assisted by AI. And one of the things that our AI agents did in here was actually go and do some research on best practices for the use case based on what it is I'm looking to automate. But I can even take this, this what we call a blueprint, the metadata from this application, and deploy it to the cloud, whether it be on AWS, on GCP, or on my self-managed environment, and generate a cloud-native application it takes about 5 minutes. So I'm able to go from blueprint to the cloud, something I can touch, feel, execute, test in less than a day. And along the way, I can even preview, before I do any of that development work, before I even touch the cloud, I can preview what my application is going to look like, how my workflows are going to come to life for the various sets of users who I want to make it available to. So this is what Pega's out-of-the-box back office portal looks like. So I can see how a claims adjudicator, what their day would look like, what their experience would look like, what the forms that they would have to complete would look like, what dashboards they'd be able to see and take a look at. I can even take a look at a mobile application. Maybe I have a Salesforce application that I want to plug into. I can take a preview of that here as well. And one of the unique things about Pega's architecture, that's sort of core to our philosophy, is that business processes, workflows, should be abstracted from channels. So what you're seeing here is the same claims adjudication workflow plugged into multiple sets of channels for multiple users. So it allows large enterprises to serve their customers directly, their back office teams, their customer service representatives, give them all the same capability to create work and do work, without having to encode the business logic in each and every channel that they want to deliver. So it unlocks increased agility and decreased total cost of ownership in these multi-channel environments. But I can even see what it would look like if I did want to embed that workflow directly to a customer, either through like a form-based interaction or through conversational self-service. And this is where we get into AI agents, which are all over the place. So as you can imagine, we couldn't get off stage. I think it's a tally. We have to check the box that we showed AI agents before we got off stage. So I'm going to do that. So one of the things, because we have this approach where workflows are separated from channels, one of the things that's natural in that is extending workflows to conversational self-service. You want to give people access to get work done through natural language. And we heard Matt Garman this morning talk about the need for predictability in our AI agents as well. So that's essentially how we're approaching this. So this is what we call predictable AI agents. So you'll notice I did no prompting. I didn't configure an AI agent anywhere. What happens in Pega is when you build an application, we automatically wrap all of your business processes with a conversational AI agent, and all that AI agent can do is act as a concierge to your pre-structured processes. So let me give you an example. So if I came in here and be like, I broke my leg and need to file a claim. It's going to go, this agent, look through all of the workflows which I defined, hopefully find the right one if AWS is cooperating. And it's going to begin to walk me through that same process which I had up on the business process palette page. And it's going to walk me through collecting that data. So I can be like, this was today, $500, $400, diagnosis, negative. I can't type, but you get the idea. And the whole time, any interaction that I'm having with this AI agent is tracked as a case, as an instance of a workflow, the same as if I submitted it through the website, the same as if a customer service representative filled it out on my behalf. So it gives me that control, that confidence in deploying AI agents at scale. Let me actually take this as well. I'm running out of time. I got 15 seconds, so I did want to show one more thing. So obviously, we're talking a lot at reInvent here about getting off of the mainframe. So one of the other things that we've done in here is integrated Blueprint with AWS Transform as an AI agent.
Okay.
So I can have a mainframe application go through the transform process to build that deep understanding of what's in that, which you see here. And then we've built an AI agent which actually runs in transform and translates that analysis from that mainframe system into information which can actually go and create that blueprint that we were just looking at. So I can go and kick that process off automatically and then begin to go from mainframe to something my business and IT teams can collaborate on and begin to reimagine, rethink, to the cloud and deploy that in just a couple seconds here. And we're getting the hook, but we would love if you swung over to the booth. It's like 45 steps that way. Come saw a demo, talked a little bit more in depth, and booth 366. So don't miss it. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. That mainframe application, just so that it is you're running transform and building the cloud native application based on the extraction is less than 2 weeks using AI. So that's.
Thank you.